which means in our class we're going to go to our technical language. So if you happen to have your technical book, go ahead and open that. And if you don't, that's okay. I'm going to share my screen, so I'll pull it up. So let me grab that. We're on Unit 2 from the technical language book, technical English. I just have to find it.
No, safe.
Thank you, everyone.
Good. All right, let me share the screen. Can everybody see it now? Everyday technical English?
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Michael.
Great. So we're going to go down to Unit 2. A tour of the workplace. Okay, this is a nice one. So sometimes you'll be visiting new places, or some people will come visit your place of work. Maybe when you get an internship, you will have to figure out how to get into the building or where your office is going to be. So you'll learn some of the language here for that type of thing. All right, so let's start with arriving here. And let's have Raed and Raed both do this first part.
Okay. I'm phoning about the factory visit next Friday. Sorry, Mr. Michael, I didn't unmute my mic.
That's okay. Go ahead and do it again.
Okay. I'm phoning about the factory visit next Friday. What should I do when I arrive?
Park in the visitor's car park in front of the factory, and then go to the gatehouse. It's directly opposite the entrance to the car park. The security people will sign you in and give you a visitor's badge. My assistant will come down to meet you.
Okay, thanks. Look forward to seeing you on Friday then.
Okay, very good. Most of that language should be recognizable to you. There's a couple nice phrases. When you say something is opposite something, that means it's right across the street. And then remember, look forward to, even though there's the to here, we use ing after. This phrase, look forward to, always takes ing after.
Mr. Michael?
Yes.
Shouldn't we say looking forward to?
You can say both.
We didn't use the I.
Yeah. Oh, without the I here. Good. Sorry. So yes, you don't have to, because this is speech. So a lot of times in speech, we sort of cut off a few things. So imagine this as a dialogue, not as a formal writing. So
Can we say looking forward, or we can?
Yep. So you can, if I was talking to you, Ali, at the end of class, I could say, looking forward to seeing you next week, or I could say, look forward to seeing you, or I look forward to seeing you. Those are all acceptable when you're speaking.
Thank you.
Good.
Mr. Michael, I have a question.
Yes.
When I was reading, there was it's directly opposite the entrance to the car park. Why didn't they say it's directly opposite to the entrance of this car park?
Both of them are acceptable. You can say it's opposite without to. And sometimes people will say opposite of. So let's think of the business park. What is directly opposite the main entrance? Does anybody know?
In Kareem.
Okay, the Kareem building. What is directly opposite the gym?
Zinc and our building in general.
Good. And what is opposite the workshops?
The university.
Okay, good. So yeah, so see, you don't have to put the to in there. You can just say what's opposite, and then without to, just say what it is.
Oh, okay.
Okay, location. Let's do Hiba and Ali. Hiba, you start.
Okay. Have you always been on this site?
No, we used to be on an industrial estate on the outskirts of York.
Why did you move?
We needed larger premises, so we moved to the Greenfield site last year. It's nearer to the motorway, so it's better for transportation.
Okay, excellent. Two grammatical things I want to point out here. There are two nouns here that are always plural. If you remember in 130, if you took 130, we did a lesson on uncountable nouns and nouns that are always plural. You might remember things like facilities and locals and remains. Means of transport, good. And outskirts was also in that lesson. Outskirts are like the suburbs, but this S is always there. There's no outskirt as a word. It's always outskirts. And same here with premises. Premises. It depends. You can pronounce it both ways.
I remember things like facilities and locals and remains.
All right. So premises or premises basically is a word for the place where things are located. So the space where things are located. So they needed a larger space to put their factory or their business. So premises. Now, there is a English word premise without the ES, but it's a completely different word that means like the, it has to do with logic. It's like the facts that your ideas are based on. But premises or premises is the place where the school is located. So if we think about HTU, HTU is located on what premises?
Business park
The
premises.
business park, exactly. So we would say it's located at the business park. All right, describing the layout. Let's see, Zaid, can you read this whole thing here, describing the layout?
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to IAM Technology. I'm very pleased so many of you could make it here today. My name is Sam Weiss. I'm the production manager. I'd like to show you the layout of the factory before we go and visit it. As you can see from this diagram, everything is under one roof. We've designed it this way to help the flow of materials and to avoid bottlenecks. Should I continue?
Yes, please.
This area here is where we keep our raw materials. The main production area, our machine hall, is situated next to it. Maintenance is situated between the stores and the production area. Just to the right of maintenance, there are steps up to the lab and the admin section. Process control is also on the upper level. It's located above the factory floor so that the operators can monitor everything that is going on below.
Excellent, good. Zaid, you had nice lexical chunks there. Your reading is quite fluent. Good job.
Thank you.
All right. What kind of questions do you have here about anything?
Situated.
Say it again.
Situated.
Situated. Okay, when something is situated in a place, that just means it's located in this context. Okay, so many of you may have situated yourself in a comfortable place for these online lectures.
The bed.
The bed, yeah. I had to, my office right now is actually situated in it's almost like a closet because it's close to the Wi-Fi router and away from the rest of my family. So that's why the other day when you saw me breaking that lamp, it's because I'm kind of in a little closet where I'm situated there. Any other questions? Okay, it sounds like you got everything. All right, who wants to do showing a visitor around? How about Tamara and Mohammed?
Okay. Should I start?
Yes, please.
Okay, so this is the main factory area. We are now walking past the printing machine. It's printing in 4 colors at the moment.
Mr. Michael, I don't think Muhammad is here.
Okay, how about Omar Shibling?
Yes. Can Tamara repeat?
Yeah, go ahead, tomorrow. Start over.
Okay, so this is the main factory area. We're now walking past the printing machine. It's printing in 4 colors at the moment.
What's going on over there?
They are setting up the machine for a new run.
How long does this usually take? Does that usually take?
About 20 minutes.
What's happening at the far end?
That's the packing line. The goods are being wrapped and loaded onto pallets, ready for transportation.
Okay. Good job, guys. Any questions?
Teacher, I have a question. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, go ahead, Saif.
The second T in 20, do we pronounce it or we may say 20?
If you say 20, it's okay, but 20 is a little bit better. 20, yeah, in American English, especially with 20 and 50, and so we sometimes leave it out and say 50 and 20, but the correct pronunciation is with the T, 20 and 50. It's just a little bit more of an American accent without it. Good? All right, let's go over these.
Mr. Michael, I have a question, please.
Go ahead, Rod.
So I wanted to ask whether...
Oh, we lost you halfway, Rod.
Someone mute people, Mr. Michael.
Someone's muting
Okay,
people?
Mr. Michael. Do you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. I was asking about onto pallets. What's the meaning of this word?
Okay, good. Pallets is a common thing that you'll see in factories, and they are these wooden boards that you can put things on and then be able to move them with so see this picture?
Yeah, I got it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pallets. So if you have to move the goods around, you can store them on here, and it's easy to move with the machines. Okay.
Mr. Michael?
Yeah.
Mohammed just told me that he's having a connection problem.
Okay. I'll see if I can invite him in so it makes it easier for him later.
No, it's his internet is not working.
That's all right. It's common. By the way, I don't know if you guys are able to mute each other, but don't do that. It's not cool. All right, let's go over these notes. So, describing location places.
Stop, Michael. There's a problem with the internet.
Okay, well, welcome, and hopefully it'll get sorted. If you get kicked out, you'll be able to watch the recording later. Okay. All right, so when you're talking about locations, so park in the visitor's car park in front of the factory. It's directly opposite. The power plant is on the left. The staff canteen is behind the main warehouse. And you guys already know these phrases for giving directions. You guys learned that way back in 100. We used to be on an industrial estate on the outskirts of York. Outskirts means the edge of town. You've learned that before. You guys know about used to when you're talking about past situations that are no longer true. We used to have a sales office, but it closed down last year. All right, premises. We need a larger premises or premises means the buildings and land occupied by a business. And we talked about this. Premises is always plural. Greenfield site. Now, greenfield and brownfield are very British words. We don't say them in American English. A greenfield site is a completely new site, and a brownfield site is a redeveloped site. So if you look over here, they say the American way. A greenfield site, Americans would probably say undeveloped site. Brownfield site, a redeveloped site. All right. I'd like to show you the layout of the factory, other ways to start the talk or to start the tour. I'd like to explain our production process. I'll say a few words about. I'll tell you a bit about our company first. And we've learned those phrases back when we've done presentations in English and probably also in soft skills. The main production area, our machine hall, is situated next to. Other ways to talk about where things are. So remember, situated means located in or where it is. Maintenance is situated between the stores and the production area. It's just to the right of maintenance. Notice the way they use this. This is the main factory area. This we always use to talk about something that's close, and that is used to talk about something that is not so close. This is the machine shop. What's that over there? And you guys have learned that a long time ago. What's going on over there? So see this going on? We've talked about this present continuous for something happening at the time of speaking. That's easy grammar for you guys. And they're setting up the machine for a new run. Okay, a run in this case, when we're talking about factories, means the production of the same goods during a period of time. You guys may have heard this trial run. We'll do a trial run of 10,000. And you can do trial runs of almost anything to test it out. So if you are developing a new app or something, you could do a trial run to see how well it works with people. How long does that usually take? Okay, notice the present simple there. How long does it take to load up the trucks? It takes 20 minutes. So that using that verb take to talk about time. The goods are being wrapped and loaded onto pallets. Goods are things that are produced to be sold. Notice again, this is one of those always plural nouns, okay? So don't get confused with those. And then they're doing passive voice here. You guys are experts at passive voice now. And we actually have present perfect continuous in the passive voice. The boiler is being repaired at the moment. Okay, car park is British. Americans say parking lot. Gatehouse is British. Americans say guardhouse or security building. Look forward to seeing you on Friday then. Okay, so the British like to put that then at the end. Look forward to seeing you on Friday then. Americans don't ever add that. An industrial estate or industrial park. Okay, it's kind of like we have the business park, right? We talked about those. Motorway is British. The Americans would say freeway, expressway, or highway, or interstate. Stores are the same as supplies, and color with a U in British and no U in English. I think the Canadians also put the U in there. All right, any questions about that grammar and vocabulary?
All is good.
Excellent, good. Let's go ahead to a couple new dialogues. Let me see who I haven't asked to talk yet. Hamza, I haven't heard from you yet. And let's do Omar. Let's see, Omar's in the store. Let's skip Omar and do, who wants to talk with Hamza?
Safe?
Safe? Great. Hamza and Safe. I'll go back so you can see the page. A new installation. Hamza, you can start.
Okay, can you hear me well?
Yes, that's good.
Would you like me to show you? Our new cleaning unit? It's a clever design.
Yes, I would like to see that. What does it clean exactly?
It washes the solvent. Of all the metal parts, the blades, tries, etc.
Sure.
And
trays.
then sends back into the system. And sends it back. I didn't see the it. I'm
That's
reading
okay.
book.
Go ahead, Safe.
Sorry?
Go ahead, do B. What does...
I did it.
Oh,
What
do it one more
does the
time.
unit consist of?
Good. Hamza?
Well, it's basically two tanks. One for the dirty solvent and one for the clean solvent. A pump and a washing unit. Oh, and there's a cooling system and a filter. It's all controlled by a PLC system that stands for Process Logic Control.
Okay. You probably have a couple questions here.
Yes, what does solvent?
Solvent, good. So if we look at solvent, solvent is one of those chemical words. If you took chemistry in high school, a solvent is the thing that dissolves other substances. So if you imagine, let's say coffee, okay? So you have Nescafe and you have water. The water would be the solvent. It dissolves the Nescafe. Okay, what other questions do you have? Everything else is clear? How about consist of? Is that okay?
Yes.
All right. Then let's go to Ali and Yasmin for speed and capacity.
Should I start?
Yes, please.
Speed and capacity. Okay, so this is our newest machine. It was only installed last year.
What's the running speed of the machine?
About 1500 meters per minute. It's one of the fastest in the world. We had a few problems with it after startup, but it's running very well now.
And what's the maximum output?
If we're running it at full capacity, it's 160,000 tons per annum.
Good. Questions?
What does
annum
mean?
Annum means year.
Oh, okay, like annual, okay.
Like annual? Okay.
Exactly. Okay, good. Let's do Rod and let's see. How about Heba? Rod and Heba. Rod Mehyar.
Okay. Shall I start, Mr. Michael?
That's fine.
Okay. Could you explain the paper making process to us in a very simple terms, please?
Well, the pulp falls
that's
from
right.
a box onto the first part of the paper machine, which is basically a wire bed with large holes in it, where most of the water is extracted.
Good.
So, is it actually paper at this stage?
Yes, it is, but we need to take out more water, so it then passes through a series. 1 minute of roller, where more water is
Squeezed out.
Squeezed out. After that, it goes through the dryers,
Good.
which are at a very high temperature. The paper is then coated, and finally it's wound onto reels and cut down into smaller lengths.
Okay. There's a few new words in here and a few words that you've learned before in one of your other classes here at HTU. So first, let's see what you guys need to know. Any new things you're curious about?
Wound.
Wound. Okay, wound is verb 2 for the verb wind. And I don't know if you remember in 130, we had the phrase wind someone up. Anybody remember that?
Yeah, to make him angry.
Yeah, good. And I think we also, maybe even in this 140, I can't remember if it was this one or 130 that we have when you unwind, which is basically to chill out. So wind, the literal meaning is when you take, I don't know if you can see me, but you take something and you turn it and it gets tighter and tighter and tighter.
إذا حد فيهم يحكي معناها بالعربي.
It means to tease.
Okay, wind you up means to tease, but the literal meaning for wind is to turn so that it gets tighter and tighter and tighter.
أظن تعصر.
Good. So what do? The paper is wound, where was it? Wound onto reels and cut down into smaller lengths. Let's see if we can find a picture of something that is wind onto reels. Okay, so here's a reel, and here's what they wind it onto the reel. Does that make sense? So a reel is something that goes around in circles.
Yeah,
and then
okay.
see it, this
بكرة.
wire is winding,
أصفر، لا.
winding.
مش أصفر لا.
هي بكرة وزي يلف عليها.
Here's perfect example.
Example.
Okay, good. What other questions?
Bulb.
Bulb. Yeah, pulp. Okay, with the P sound here. Pulp.
Pulp.
Good. So pulp is basically when it's big pieces of something and it's kind of in a liquid usually. Let me show you some example. We always talk about the pulp in orange juice. Okay, they might not have very good images here because there's probably different bands. Okay. All right, now, see this fruit? So see those pieces, those big pieces? Those are called
inside.
pulp.
Not inside
Yes,
the.
it's like the inside. Oh, here's paper actually as pulp. So that it's hard to see this picture, but all of those, see that texture? That's pulp. And so let's ask a question real quick and see how well you understand this. For those of you that drink orange juice, do you like orange juice with pulp or without pulp?
With pulp.
Without.
Okay, so what's
What?
the difference? Do you like orange juice with pulp or without pulp?
The
With
one with
pulp
pulp
is
has the
like,
small thingies in the orange itself.
Yeah, the trash.
Okay, different
It's the
people prefer.
fibers.
Yeah, the fibers, good. That's a good way to say it, the fibers. Okay, when I was younger, I preferred orange juice without pulp, but as I got older, I became more keen on drinking the pulp. And last one, you might not know, extract. To extract is to take something out.
To take the essence of something.
Too good to take it out. And a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times this prefix X means to take out. Okay, I think.
So Michael, what's the meaning of coated?
Coated, good. So let's talk about coated real quick and we'll come back to you, Safe. So coated is when you put a thin layer on top of something. So you might coat your walls with another layer of paint.
It depends if it's fresh juice or not.
Exactly. Good. So coated, yeah, is to put a thin layer on something. Safe, you had a question?
No, I want to take another role because you gave me a small role before.
Okay. All right, let's give you a big one here. Looks like B is more. So who wants to be A with Safe?
I can.
Great, please.
Should I start?
Yes, please.
Is the factory full automated?
Safe? Did we lose him?
Someone muted me.
All right, guys.
Please don't be.
Stop muting people.
Okay. Not completely. Our production process is partially automated. We use robots on the production line for routine assembly jobs, but some of the work is still done manually. Sorry.
What about supply of parts in the production line?
Well, the parts are automatically selected from the store room using a barcode system, and there's an automatic feeder which takes them to the conveyor belt at the start of the production line.
What about the smaller components?
They are transported Yes, they are transported to the workstations on automated vehicles, robot trucks, which run on guide rails around the factory.
Okay, nice job. Questions?
Mr. Michael, I have a question.
Yes.
I should have asked in the beginning of the class. Yesterday, you sent us something to study.
Mm-hmm.
What is this for?
Well, we didn't have a lot of time yesterday to get to the grammar lesson, so I wanted you guys to study the grammar to make sure you understood it.
Oh, I thought that we have a quiz or something.
Well, you should always study even if you don't have quizzes, right?
Yes.
Good.
Thank you.
All right. Next, automation. Any questions about automation?
I have a question.
Sure.
Is routine from English from the start? English word?
I don't know its origins. Let's see. Do you guys know how to find out where words come from? So if we put routine in there, and there's this word called etymology. Okay. It looks like it came from French.
Yeah, okay.
And English, and it sort of came in. So route or route means road, and then routine. So if you go on the same road from.
Oh, okay.
Good. All right. You know what? Lath, are you here? Maybe not. Okay. Let me go back. Sorry. Any other questions here? Everyone knows barcode, manually, automatic feeder.
What's the meaning of feeder?
Feeder means that it's the thing that you're able to put something in, and then it is able to go through the machine. So it's the part where you can put something into the machine.
Okay.
So if you think of a printer has a feeder often where you put the paper in. All right, let me go through these notes, and then I'm going to assign you some role plays, and we'll finish off after that. Okay, would you like me to show you our new cleaning unit? Notice that we don't say, would you like that I show you? Okay, we've learned how to use these what do we call them? Indirect questions. And so make sure you say them correctly. You could also say, would you like to see something, or shall I show you something? Okay, all those are perfectly normal. What does the unit consist of? Okay, consist of. Another way you could say, what are the different parts of the unit, or what's the unit made up of? Or you could just say made of. This is our newest machine. Note the short adjectives have EST, so newest, and long adjectives, we would put most in front of that. And you guys already know that rule. What is the running speed of the machine? Other ways you might say the same thing. What's the maximum output? What's the capacity? How many pieces do you produce per hour? All those mean the same thing. If we're running at full capacity, that means the factory is producing as much as it can. If we're only running at half capacity, they're only producing half as much as they can. And 3/4 capacity, of course, would be 75%. So you can imagine that right now, with everything that's happening with the coronavirus, many factories are at less than full capacity, maybe even less than half capacity, and some are probably even closed down. 160,000 tons per annum. Per annum means each year. And sometimes, if you don't want to say per, you can also just say So you could say it uses 50 kilowatts a day. That means the same thing as per. The pulp falls from a box onto the first part of the paper machine. Notice we use present simple to describe processes. So as you're telling how something works, you're going to stick to the present simple. Onto and into describe movements. The plates go into the oven instead of just saying in. The pallets are loaded onto trucks or lorries instead of just saying on trucks. To be honest, in informal English, we would say either in or into. Most of the water is extracted. Notice the passive voice here. When we're talking about processes, we often use passive voice. The paper is then coated. The components are tested. And notice when we're talking about processes, we use the steps, the words to indicate the procedure. First, next, after that, finally. Fully automated, partially automated, automated vehicles, and automation. So those are things that can do it by themselves without any humans. And when humans are doing it, we can say they do it manually. And we can also say by hand. That means the same thing, manually or by hand. Okay, and a barcode system when they have the stripes that you can scan and it gives you a number. Okay, 1,500 meters per minute. Americans would say a mile a minute. For some reason, Americans like to be difficult and not accept the metric system. I'm not sure what our problem is. An American ton is 2,000 pounds. A British ton is 2,240 pounds. Notice the spelling of ton. There's two different types of tons, it looks like. This ton spelled this way is equal to 1,000 kilograms. And to run on guide rails or to run on tracks, lorries for the British, trucks for Americans, and fibers spelled differently, and steel works or steel mill. Okay, so lots of interesting words that you would see in a factory and learning about how the factory works. In 130, you had a whole unit on process, so hopefully you remember all those phrases. If not, pull out your purple and use it to help you. So now we get to the more interesting part. You guys have all of this language now, so now you get to try to use it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you in pairs, and I'm going to assign each of you a task to do a small role play where you make a dialogue similar to this one. So let me see if I can find your names here. I'll just go to e-learning. All right. I'm going to turn off the recording for a minute while we do this. We don't need to put your names everywhere. Okay, everyone with me?